All right, Deadheads, welcome back to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I got to mention this thing on Dead City. I did a random video talking about what was the Daryl Dixon show. They were filming this season 2. There's also this image that kind of caught my eye on Twitter. It appears to show Rick and Michonne running. This is such poor quality. That could be a stunt double. It could be a stunt double for both of them, to be honest, but even if it's a stunt double, it definitely looks like it's supposed to represent Rick and Michonne. And I know fans are going nuts saying Rick lost his arm. His arm is right here. It's a running position. His arm is up. It could even be grabbed onto his book bag. His arm is right here. I know it's poor quality, but anyway. So there's a couple things that jump up, and I think, man, I would like to just mention that. So I figure, what the hell? We'll jump on now that my channel, or my main videos that I'm working on, my passion project, Flaw vs. All Reviews, I move those to a whole new channel. You can check it out if you want. I'll leave links to it at the end of this video. But now that this channel is free, we can talk about whatever. So this article came up. Before we dive into the article, I will say the coloring is kind of losing me. If you notice, for Dead City, I just want to mention this, for like the silhouetted shots, the artistic shots, landscape shots, they have a look to them that I dig it. I like it a lot. But some of the one-on-one character shots, I noticed there's greens and blues and, the reds. The color is overbearing. It's taken over. And I know there's artistic choices to do that. A lot of times it represents feeling, like whether you're angry or, relaxed or calm or jealous or whatever it is. But sometimes I think the style overtakes just the natural element. I want to see these characters in natural element. So we'll see a lot of the shots. Look how this particular shot, this is probably filmed during the day and they fake it for night by putting a filter on it because it's just too clean. A lot of these images, if they filmed it more at night, you would see a lot of the details would be hidden in what would be the shadow of the nighttime. Anyway, but they do that a lot where they film it during the day and they hide it for night. But some of the color, it just washes out the natural look of it. But I will say, so for a visual aspect, that is getting to me a little bit. I am excited to see at least the premiere episode of the Daryl Show, Rick and Michonne. That's my number 1. And then for the Dead City, I'm at least excited for the premiere to see what they do with it. Now, this article dropped and it bummed me out a touch because it starts by saying grief, loss, trauma. Those are 3 words series creator and showrunner uses to describe what is at the core of the relationship between Maggie and Negan on The Walking Dead, Dead City. Now, that really sounds dumb. The Walking Dead, Dead City. I hate having dead in the title. Anyway, all right, so this is what we've already gotten in the main show, and it looks like they're just starting over because it mentions the main show and how they wrapped up, but now it says years later, that hurt resurfaces when a slightly older Herschel, who was recast, by the way, is kidnapped by the Kraut? I don't know what that's supposed to be, but Maggie's mission is to save her son, brings her to the Walker-infested New York City and back to Negan. And this really feels like a rehash, and it's a shame. I know putting these characters on the show, maybe they didn't know the show was going to happen, the spinoff was going to happen when they did the main show, obviously. And the main show on the writer's room in the main show probably didn't want to give up the chance to tell the story of Maggie and Negan. But I kind of feel like now they would have done it different and waited and held back greatly and just done it on the Negan and Maggie show. It would have had and packed a way more punch if they just handled the hurt and the healing on the Maggie and Negan show, because it really feels like we're doing everything all over again. I like the new look or the refreshing look of these characters. Maggie and Negan kind of have a new, refreshing makeover, let's say. Negan is very much reminiscent of old Negan, but it's kind of got a little new softness to his outfit. It's not like biker leather, for example. It's more like, hanging out, not as lethal leather. I don't know what to call it, but you know what I mean? Like your uncle's leather, your uncle trying to bang the younger chick's leather. Anyhow, so back to the article. This is the next chapter in this story about Maggie and Negan. Another piece of it for me was that at the core of Maggie and Negan's relationship, the grief, the loss, the trauma, the showrunner talked about during Dead City's WonderCon panel. How do you navigate something like that? To me, that was always the center of the show. That's at the core here. And I just feel like this is another person's attempt to rewrite, or redo what we've already gotten on the main show. Think about it. They've already went through a whole spectrum of feelings on the main show, and we're about to get it all over again by these words like it resurfaces. And I just don't know if I care to see these two characters go through the same, hurt and healing they've already done. It might be better, but if it comes back for a second time after everything they've been through, why would we expect the healing to last even after this, or whatever direction they go? I think having Maggie and Negan in the series, I think the most predictable ending is a redemption and some sort of understanding between the two characters. And I'm not saying a friendship, but an understanding. It can go, if they want to be real lame with it, it's either a friendship or an understanding of sorts. They might not kill each other, they're not friends, but you get what I'm saying? It's an understanding. I think one of probably the best angle they could go with, the most surprising and the most maybe conflicting within the audience core to kind of keep the audience on their toes, is to have this lead us down the path of thinking this show is going to bring them together in that level of understanding, and become allies. I want to make sure I pick my words carefully here, because I don't want you to think like they're going to be besties. But I think the best direction to go, or most fun I would have, is if this show was the final split between them. Like, listen, we tried repeatedly to get over what you've done, but there's no way I can get over it. Like, this is it, And to have some sort of unfortunate conflict between them. Like, listen, you saved my son's life, you saved my life. I don't want to go down this road, but there's nothing I can do. Maybe I'm not a good person because I can't forgive you. So if I ever see you again, it's on, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Write it better than that, but I think that would be a nice direction to go. Also, if you back up a little bit, having Herschel, Maggie's son, kidnapped is something I made fun of on social media a little while ago. That I can't stand. I hate that idea. Think about it. We've had multiple characters kidnapped in The Walking Dead already, and in Fear the Walking Dead, let's not forget, and in World Beyond even. Every friggin' Walking Dead anything, a character's been kidnapped repeatedly, and I made a joke, and we actually counted over a dozen times. I think we ended around like 17, give or take, because from the very first friggin' episode, very first season, even Glenn in the first season got kidnapped. We're not going to run through it. Think about it in your head. Glenn got kidnapped by Vatos. Daryl ended up kidnapped. Glenn and Maggie got kidnapped again by the governor. You name it, they've been kidnapped. Andrea's been kidnapped. All these people, even Herschel was kidnapped at the end of the series. So in The Walking Dead, you got 17 different times these people have been kidnapped, maybe even more. If you count the spinoffs, we're talking about in the 20s. They've done this 20-some times where characters were kidnapped, like Beth. Probably every character in the show. Daryl kidnapped by the Saviors. Even Michonne kidnapped. I think she was kidnapped twice, Yeah, she was kidnapped twice. Maybe even more than that. But my point, though, is there's a chance for a fresh look at these characters, a fresh look at older characters, a new type of story, something that's a little bit different, set in New York City. And what do, man? They do a storyline they've done 20-some times before, a kidnapping. Oh, come on. That's the best we got. And on top of that, it's not only Dead City with a kidnapping yet again, and we know she's going to get her son back. I mean, it would be, this show, I would probably be like give it a lot more respect if they just killed Herschel, brutally in front of her and threw him off a cliff and was like, "You stupid bitch, you really thought you were going to come rescue him?" Like, just come out of the, that way when I watch this show, I don't know what to expect. Like, this show could do anything, but this show is not like that. She's going to rescue him, and then her and Negan are going to come to some sort of understanding and or friendship, at least enough to spill over into season 2. They'll probably leave their conflict for season 1 and remedy it in season 2 to some degree, or maybe even 3. I don't know. But that's all I got to say about Dead City. I'm very interested in the location. I don't have any hope that they're going to do something good, but outside of just being seeing some visuals that I like again, like I like the actor for Negan and Maggie. I really like the actors. They got a good amount of charisma. I really like the characters. I'm not sold on the recent writing for the characters, but I'm happy to see some zombies again, especially after that disaster of The Last of Us, where it's not even a zombie show. It's great to go and look at like a post-apocalyptic, The Road movie where it's the road with, a zombie once or twice, I mean, that's fine. But if I want to watch zombies, I'm not watching The Last of Us. There's, I'd rather watch a 60-second clip. That's probably all there is, on YouTube than watch the whole show again. But with The Walking Dead, they really do, for all their faults, they do actually show you some zombie stuff. But we'll see. That's my thoughts and opinions on Dead City. I'm going to give the first episode a shot. I liked the location. I like the actors. I want to root for it. But there's so much that they got beating it down. That color palette choice, I don't know. The idea that they've done this before with LA, where they show LA in the premiere episode and then they're out in the woods, in the outskirts, they're inside buildings. They're everywhere and anywhere except for showing the actual city. They do like landscape things and they tease the city shots, but it's not like in the city. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But like I said, retelling the kidnap story, retelling the story between the hurt and the healing with Nagy. Yeah, that's what they are. Nagy. Between Negan and Maggie. You guys leave your thoughts and opinions down below. I am going into this with low expectations, but I'm really pulling for it. Anything that's in a zombie genre, no matter how critical I am, I'm pulling for it because I want as much awesome zombie content as possible. So, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.